The sense of betrayal and heartbreak that a person experiences when their spouse leaves them for someone else is almost indescribable. It is not merely the act of abandonment, but the emotional layers that come with it. The sudden shock, the unanswered questions, and the feeling of being replaced by someone from the past. In this story, the protagonist is faced with an unimaginable emotional challenge. The person they trusted most, the one they built a family with, suddenly leaves not only them, but also their children for a first love. This kind of betrayal strikes at the very core of human emotion because it is deeply personal and intimate. The protagonist is forced to confront feelings of inadequacy, confusion, and immense sadness, all at once. It is one thing to lose someone to death or circumstance, but to be abandoned while your life continues and your children need you creates a unique form of heartbreak. The protagonist is not only dealing with the loss of companionship and affection, but also the shock of realizing that someone they loved and invested in emotionally has chosen a different path. Prioritizing a past relationship over the life they created together, this brings about a profound sense of personal questioning. Am I not enough? Did I fail somewhere? Could I have prevented this? These questions haunt the mind, creating sleepless nights and restless days, as the protagonist attempts to make sense of the chaos that has suddenly entered their life. The betrayal is magnified by the impact on the children, who may feel confusion, abandonment, or guilt. The protagonist experiences a dual heartbreak, the loss of their spouse and the worry about how this will affect the emotional stability of their children. Each interaction with the children becomes a reminder of the absence, and the once shared memories now carry a bittersweet sting. The emotional journey is intense because it forces the protagonist to navigate grief while maintaining composure for the sake of the children. The heartbreak also brings moments of self-reflection. It challenges the protagonist to examine the nature of love, trust, and commitment. Why did this happen? What does it mean about human desires and emotional impulses? How does one continue when the person who was supposed to be a partner in life has chosen another path? Despite the darkness of betrayal, it also sparks a subtle internal transformation. The protagonist is forced to recognize their own emotional strength, resilience, and the capacity to endure pain without letting it destroy them. The heartbreak is a crucible, reshaping their understanding of relationships, loyalty, and the fragility of human connections. It is this intense emotional struggle that forms the heart of the story, making the audience deeply empathize with the protagonist's pain while also setting the stage for the eventual twist when the spouse returns, begging. The audience is left thinking about the raw human emotions of betrayal, heartbreak, and the enduring strength required to move forward, which is why stories like this resonate so profoundly with readers. Even in the midst of heartbreak, life does not pause, and responsibilities do not disappear. For the protagonist, the departure of a spouse is not only an emotional blow, but also a practical challenge that forces them to step into a role they may never have fully anticipated: raising the children alone. The sudden shift from a shared partnership to being the sole provider and caregiver is overwhelming. Every decision, from ensuring the children are fed and clothed to managing schoolwork, extracurricular activities, and emotional well-being, now rests entirely on their shoulders. This responsibility is heavy, yet it becomes a defining aspect of the protagonist's character, revealing resilience, determination, and an unwavering commitment to family. Despite personal pain and emotional exhaustion, the protagonist understands that the children's world must remain as stable as possible. They realize that the innocence and happiness of the kids cannot be compromised by adult conflicts or betrayals. Balancing work, household tasks, and parenting demands is grueling, yet the protagonist adapts, learning to navigate this new reality with a combination of patience, creativity, and grit. Every small success, preparing a healthy meal, helping with homework, calming a child's fears, or attending an important school event, becomes a victory not only for the children but also for the protagonist, who proves to themselves that they are capable of enduring hardship without collapsing under pressure. The narrative emphasizes the importance of responsibility and accountability in times of crisis. While the spouse's departure could have led to bitterness or surrender, the protagonist instead channels their energy into providing a safe, loving, and structured environment for the children. This demonstrates the profound difference between reacting with self-pity and responding with purpose. The audience can see the protagonist's dedication as a powerful example of parental love and strength. Additionally, the story highlights the dual nature of responsibility. It is both a burden and a source of empowerment. By taking control of the household and ensuring the children's needs are met, the protagonist gains a renewed sense of agency. Every challenge overcome reinforces their resilience and builds a deeper understanding of self, worth, and capability. In a way, the responsibilities they carry become a lifeline, anchoring them in the real world even as their heart navigates emotional turmoil. The narrative also subtly conveys the importance of role modeling. The protagonist's consistent effort, despite personal pain, sets an example for the children about perseverance, integrity, and the strength of character. It demonstrates that even when life becomes unexpectedly difficult, one can rise to the occasion, prioritize the welfare of loved ones, and maintain dignity. This key point resonates with readers who have faced similar challenges, or who appreciate stories of courage, sacrifice, and the unwavering commitment that defines true parenting. The audience is left with admiration for the protagonist's ability to embrace responsibility while navigating heartbreak, illustrating that personal growth often emerges through trials and steadfast devotion to family. One of the most compelling elements of this story is the exploration of the first love. Temptation, a universal theme that resonates with many readers because it taps into the complex emotions of nostalgia, desire, and the human tendency to idealize the past. The protagonist's wife leaving for her first love highlights a recurring conflict between past and present, between old emotions and current responsibilities. First loves often carry a sense of innocence, excitement, and heightened emotion that can feel unattainable in later relationships. They are frozen in memory as perfect or idealized experiences, and this perception can create a powerful, almost irresistible pull. In the story, the wife's decision to pursue this old flame underscores the psychological allure of revisiting what once seemed so thrilling, even at the expense of the stable, loving family she had built. For the protagonist, this situation is both bewildering and painful. There is an immediate confrontation with the reality that emotions, no matter how long ago experienced, can disrupt present commitments. The audience is led to understand not only the wife's perspective, why someone might be tempted to chase the spark of a first love, but also the devastating consequences of acting on it without considering the long-term impact on the family. This tension between personal desire and responsibility creates a rich, emotional conflict that drives the story. Readers are prompted to think about their own relationships, choices, and the balance between longing for what once was and cherishing what currently exists. This story also emphasizes the irrational nature of such temptations. While a first love may evoke intense feelings, it is often colored by memory rather than reality, idealized rather than experienced in the present. This can lead to destructive decisions when someone acts on those emotions without weighing the repercussions. The wife's departure is a stark example of this dynamic, showing how unchecked nostalgia can blind someone to the love, stability, and care that exist in their current life. For the protagonist, the betrayal is not only about loss, but also about witnessing the power of emotion to override reason. It presents an opportunity for readers to reflect on human vulnerability, how even the strongest relationships can be challenged by past attachments and emotional impulses. Furthermore, the story explores the moral and psychological dimension of chasing a first love. It raises questions about loyalty, prioritization, and the consequences of giving in to fleeting desires. The audience sees the contrast between the protagonist's commitment to the family and the wife's impulsive choice, heightening the drama and emotional stakes. Ultimately, this theme adds depth to the narrative, creating a compelling exploration of human emotion, temptation, and the delicate balance between memory and reality. It is a key reason why the story resonates, illustrating how past connections can profoundly influence present decisions, for better or worse, and why navigating these emotions requires wisdom, self-control, and reflection. The moment when the wife returns 6 months later, begging to come back, introduces one of the most dramatic and emotionally charged elements of the story, the twist of comeback and redemption. This turning point is crucial because it shifts the narrative from pure heartbreak and struggle to tension, suspense, and moral conflict. The protagonist, having endured immense pain, responsibility, and betrayal, now faces a new dilemma: how to respond to someone who caused deep emotional wounds but is now seeking forgiveness. This moment is layered with complexity. It challenges the protagonist to assess not only the sincerity of the wife's return, but also their own emotional readiness to confront the past. The audience is immediately drawn into the psychological struggle. Should the protagonist forgive, reject, or use this as an opportunity to reclaim power? This part of the story resonates because it mirrors real life situations in which people must navigate forgiveness, trust, and personal boundaries after betrayal. The wife's return is not just a plea, it is an emotional test. It forces the protagonist to confront lingering feelings, unresolved anger, and the profound question of whether the past can ever truly be reconciled. Every word and action from the wife carries weight, and the protagonist's response reflects not just personal choice, but also growth and self-awareness developed during the months of separation. Additionally, this twist introduces suspense and anticipation for the audience. They are eager to see the protagonist's reaction. Will they succumb to old emotions, assert their newfound strength, or seek some form of retribution? This anticipation keeps readers engaged, highlighting the power of storytelling that balances emotional vulnerability with moral stakes. The narrative also emphasizes the theme of accountability. The wife's return signals recognition of her mistake, and the story explores whether acknowledgement of wrongdoing is sufficient to repair fractured relationships. The protagonist, having endured the challenges of single parenting and emotional recovery, is positioned as someone who now holds the upper hand. The audience is invited to reflect on the dynamics of power, respect, and fairness in relationships. Furthermore, the comeback moment serves as a pivotal stage for character development. The protagonist's response defines their evolution from someone hurt and betrayed to a figure of resilience, wisdom, and emotional maturity. It underscores the idea that personal growth is often forged through trials, and that responding to adversity with strength, clarity, and self-respect is a form of empowerment. The story's emotional arc is heightened because this twist offers not just drama, but also a moral dimension. It asks the audience to consider the consequences of actions, the possibility of redemption, and the importance of personal boundaries. Ultimately, this key point is a turning point that transforms the narrative from a tale of loss to one of suspense, reflection, and the testing of human emotions, leaving readers deeply invested in the outcome and the protagonist's choices. The final key element of the story centers on empowerment and decision-making, which is the ultimate payoff for both the protagonist and the audience. After months of betrayal, heartbreak, and the immense responsibility of raising the children alone, the protagonist is presented with a situation that tests not only emotional resilience, but also moral clarity and self-respect. The return of the wife, begging to come back, creates a high-stakes scenario that demands a decisive response. This moment is crucial because it emphasizes that empowerment is not merely about enduring hardship, but about asserting one's autonomy and making choices that reflect personal values, boundaries, and long-term well-being. The protagonist has already undergone a transformation. They have endured emotional pain, managed family responsibilities, and navigated complex feelings surrounding betrayal. These experiences equip them with the insight and strength necessary to make an informed decision rather than react impulsively. The audience witnesses a person who has grown stronger through adversity, demonstrating that true empowerment arises from self-awareness and the courage to prioritize one's own dignity. Moreover, this key point highlights the importance of setting boundaries. Forgiveness, if granted, is not automatic. It must be earned and aligned with genuine remorse and changed behavior. The protagonist's choice becomes a reflection of their understanding of self-worth. By carefully weighing the wife's motivations and sincerity, they assert control over their emotional life, refusing to let past attachments dictate their present and future. This resonates with readers because it mirrors real life scenarios in which people must make tough choices after betrayal, balancing compassion with self-preservation. The story also reinforces the theme that empowerment is intertwined with personal growth. The protagonist's journey from pain to strength exemplifies the evolution of character that occurs when one navigates adversity consciously. Their decision, whether it is to forgive, reject, or redefine the relationship on new terms, demonstrates emotional intelligence, resilience, and the capacity to prioritize what truly matters: self-respect, family stability, and personal happiness. Furthermore, the narrative underscores that empowerment is not solely about confrontation or revenge. It is about reclaiming agency. The protagonist has endured the hardships of single parenthood, emotional betrayal, and the challenges of maintaining stability under immense pressure. Their ability to respond to the wife's return with clarity, wisdom, and measured action represents a triumph of self-determination over past pain. The audience is left inspired by the notion that, even in the face of deep emotional wounds, people have the capacity to reclaim control over their lives, make conscious decisions, and assert their dignity. Ultimately, this key point transforms the story from a simple tale of betrayal and reunion into a powerful narrative about human strength, resilience, and the importance of conscious choice. It highlights that true empowerment comes from within, and that the ability to make difficult, principled decisions is the ultimate demonstration of personal growth and emotional mastery.